Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the We Get to Do This podcast. This is Jacob here. So for those that don't know, my coach, Matt Welch, who we had on a few months ago, actually, I've been working with him for almost 2 years now. And one of the benefits of being coached is the coaching calls you receive. My business does this. Matt's business does this. Most successful run coaching businesses are doing this type of thing. And in the past, I've actually recorded an episode with David, a client of mine, where I was the coach. This week, we are switching that. I recorded a recent call I had with Matt ahead of my upcoming race build, which you'll have to listen to the episode to find out. And we recorded that episode and now are releasing said episode. So it's going to be a fun and different one where you get to see Jacob, me, as the athlete, and hear all about how we're going to kind of go about the 2026 year. As always, if you enjoyed the episode, please leave us a rating on whatever platform you listen to. Share it with a friend. One of those things will help us greatly. So I hope you enjoy, and thank you. We get to do this.
They're fake.
Neither do I. These are just blue light blockers. I put them on because you had them on, and I thought it'd be cool.
That's right. We look a lot smarter than we really are.
That's the only reason. Okay, let's be as candid as possible.
Let's do it. And where I know I would like to start is maybe hearing how things have been feeling for you as of late, coming off your pacing duties, both mentally and physically. Let's maybe start there.
Well, the pacing duties were a lot harder than I thought they'd be. But I think that it was because essentially pulling an all-nighter more than anything. Obviously, running 40 was very hard too. But I'd be curious to know how much different I would have felt the next few days if the 40 took place from, 8 to 5 throughout the day as opposed to 8 to 5 at night. Because the day after, we probably slept maybe 5 hours throughout that day. It was like we got back to the Airbnb. I finally laid down right before 8, and we slept until like 10:30, 11. And then got up, and I felt like I got hit by a truck. That initial period was because we got 2-3 hours right there, right? And then I couldn't even keep my eyes open. So we ended up we were up for like an hour and a half, went back to bed for like 3 hours maybe in the afternoon, and then just felt like hungover essentially after that.
Yeah, I feel like that lack of sleep really jacks up your body in a lot of ways. And I imagine you're probably taking caffeine, right? With like gels and stuff like that, aren't you?
Obnoxious amounts of caffeine. Yeah. Obnoxious.
Yeah.
Caffeine, so much sugar. Yeah, no, it was, and I was dehydrated for sure going into Arizona. Like my pee it was yellow the entire trip. No matter how much water I drank, it was yellow. That's another thing, honestly, I'm thinking about for Mesa already. I just didn't think about it until this trip. But other than that, it kind of then worked out nicely to just kind of take the week mainly off. But mentally and physically, I feel really good. The 60-mile weeks felt awesome. I think I got 7 in a row, and then that 40 ended up being like 70.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm excited about the next build because I feel like I essentially just did a marathon build, and now or this whole year really, I've been training, I feel like, for this. I've been training for my whole life for this, the cliche. This whole year, I feel as though I've really taken a step back from having any major A races, I guess, and have just been focusing on the fundamentals, running easy when it's supposed to be easy, doing lots of, form work, getting my body ready to run again. So I've been way more focused on strength and athletic movement and getting more sleep. I feel like my nutrition's been cleaned up. I feel like I'm really clicking and doing everything I need to as an athlete for this relationship. That first year, I feel like I was doing not everything I should have. And I think part of that was because for a long time I got away with, I don't want to say half-assing because I wasn't half-assing, but I could get less sleep, I could work more hours, overwork, I should say. I could eat pretty much anything, and I was able to do that, and that was great, and run less and get a good amount faster, and then it like stopped working. And I took that same method kind of into when we started working, and then overworked, got hurt, couldn't recover, couldn't heal myself from the injury because I was not doing the things I needed to do.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, honestly, I took the year and kind of reset, I think. So I feel
Yeah.
like,
Well, and
yeah,
huge props to you because I feel like it's so easy to externalize the problem, right? Being like, oh, like it's like maybe the coaching's not right for me, right? And that's why I keep breaking down, or my life is too stressful, so it's just not the right like time. But it seemed like what you did is over time is you kind of looked inward and be like, hey, how much do I want this to be a part of my life, and how serious do I want to take this? And then you adjusted the different parts of your life to then support you being the best athlete that you can be in this season of your life, right? And I've been able to see that over the last year, especially. And I think what's so cool about training is that it compounds over time. Like you're just so much better athlete now than you were 2 years ago, just because the amount of work that you put in over the last 2 years and
mhm,
the amount of experience that you have gathered in racing, but then pushing your body at a pretty high level several times a week, right? For 2 years almost, so now I think your body and your mind is just so much more resilient as well. And that's what's been really cool. Like I can remember like some marathons in the past where 60 miles was like a huge amount, right? That was like the big peak. It was like 60 miles and you just put 7 back to back.
yeah,
Like that's insane, right?
yeah,
Is just being able to handle that volume with intensity built in, with races built in, with lifting built in your complex life as a business owner, right, a coach, partner, right, to your fiance. Like you have a complicated life and it's not easy to. So that's been really cool to see. Definitely from my end. And I'm kind of curious, like what do you feel like has been the big game changer this year compared to years previous? Like if you could.
well, I think from a training perspective, like running specifically, for pretty much my whole running career, specifically once I really started taking it seriously. So I'm talking like the last 4 or 5 years after college and whatnot. I ran in high school, obviously, and I ran through college, but it was like, I think the most I ever did was like 40 miles for peak week, which was a lot at the time. But when I started like stacking 40+ mile weeks, like that era started after college. And I
Mhm.
think that until I met you in training, I think like kind of the biggest difference was that in training, all of my speed workouts, it was like go into them feeling as good as possible, and to the point where like they all felt like a race almost.
Mhm.
And a big switch I have had, specifically because of how high the volume is going into speed workouts a little fatigued and having that be okay. I
Yeah,
was a
totally.
huge training shock that has been different because at first it was like, I can't handle this because my legs are never feeling good. And then it turned into kind of always being at like, 80 to 90% going into workouts, and then going into races feeling like 120%. That was a different shift. Does that make sense? I
It
feel like
totally does.
it took like a year to kind of get that adjustment, because then it also, again, back to the fundamentals, that really, really reinforces easy being easy. Because that was a
Yes.
whole nother, I could get away with tempo running easy days all the time. Based off the way I trained before. And now it's like, if I have a 12-mile speed workout in the middle of the week, I cannot be effing around on Monday and Tuesday and running too hard. And I
Yeah.
need to be ready for that. And that's the choice. Yeah, that's the choice. I have chosen to do that because of what I want to accomplish. And then it's the same thing with the long run. It's like, then Thursday, Friday, you need to be chill, right? And
Yeah,
then once I
totally.
made that mindset shift, finally, all of those easy days also became faster. Like my easy pace just went down. So like that was also cool too. So I think that's the biggest shift training wise is like, I mean, it's the fundamentals. It's like the easy being easy and being okay being tired.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, and it's interesting you bring this up because I heard, gosh, I can't recall the podcast that Coach Mike Smith was on. It's a young kid who has like 200,000 followers on Instagram. He's been like
The Running Effect podcast,
running effects
dude,
podcast.
that dude that's crazy.
Bro, dude, I was on that pod like 4 years ago,
Yeah.
right?
You
When
were
he
on
was like, yeah, I was on it. Dude, he
You
was
on
like
it?
a
Oh,
16-year-old kid. Yeah.
that's sick.
We linked it now. He's huge, right? He's one of the largest running podcasts, if not the largest running podcast in
I
the
think it's
world.
like Sidious.
Yeah, it's incredible. It really is. But what Mike Smith was saying, he was describing this dinner that he had with the Ingebrigtsens and them talking about training in America, right? And what kind of Americans do wrong. And when it comes to training in America, we're always looking for confidence in our workouts, like
Exactly.
confidence that we are able to race the way that we're hoping to, right? So we're always trying to test ourselves in these workouts, right? And we're oftentimes pushing too hard in these workouts rather than receiving confirmation from the whole training block and just like little points of measurement that you are on the right path and that you are kind of just doing the things that you need to do to run the way that you want, knowing that you're going to be fatigued going into a lot of these workouts. And that's the whole point, is like training your body to kind of run fast while fatigued and not overinflating these workouts, because you have 2 of them every single week for 12-week marathon build, right? If you saw all of them as a reflection of your future race performance, like you are just going to run yourself into the ground. And I think a lot of people do that or get emotionally burnt out. So I really liked, kind of Mike Smith sharing that, as the confirmation piece, because I feel like that's also something I've observed with you this year is like you're going into these workouts a lot less anxious, I think, or a lot less nervous and just more like, hey,
1000%.
it's just like one more workout that I have to do. Like it's an opportunity for me to take another step in the right direction, but it's not representative of me being a good or bad runner, right? It's not this binary. It's like, hey, let me try to maximize this effort. And I hope I can be within the paces, but like if I'm not, I'm still going to get in the good effort and then I'm going to move forward, right? Knowing that if you have a 12-week training block and you nail 90% of the prescribed workouts, that's an A minus. Dude, that's excellent for a marathon block, is to be able to go into a marathon healthy and then like nailing 90% of your work. So yeah, that's been really cool, I think, to also observe.
Yeah. Just belief for sure. Just like building belief. But yeah, I think that being okay with things being hard too is another very big thing, that going back to the Americans and needing confidence, because this is going to sound very egotistical, I guess, but it was a lot easier. Like the earlier builds, they were a lot easier for me. Like going from, how do I say this like without sounding like an asshole? Going from 4:30 to like 3:30 was a lot easier than going from 3:30 to 3:17, right?
Yeah.
You following me
Yeah.
on that? Like for me, in hindsight, at the time it felt very hard, but now I look back and I'm like, wow, those workouts compared to like now, they weren't the same. And you level up as an athlete, right? So I'm trying to remind myself of that too. But honestly, from like 3:17 to 3:10, it wasn't the race. It was like belief in myself of the workouts that I was like the athlete that could do that. Like I had become the athlete that could do that, because I was like failing workout after workout after workout because I just kept quitting. Right. And it was like, I knew I could do it, but it was just hard again. And then I would quit. Like I was quitting tons of workouts. I was just like, I can't do it, And now it's like, I go into the workouts and I'm like, one, the workout doesn't owe me anything. Right.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like, if you assign me a pace range of like 6:30 to 6:40 pace for something, it's like, I don't the workout does not owe me just to start at 6:30 pace and be able to hold that the whole time. Like, you have to work in that, right? And be smart and like think about it as almost like a race a little bit, I guess. But yeah, and then like being okay that it's going to feel really hard and working through that, and that's the practice too. So I think that that was another big thing too, with the training specifically. So yeah, that's where I'm
Yeah.
at.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, there's always so many variables with workouts as well, just like any race. Like you have weather, right? You have the possibility of hills, you have your life stressors and things that might be impacting your ability to show up 100%. And that's a reality as somebody who's not a professional athlete, right? Is we're having to balance a lot of things in our lives that are not running related. And I think it's more challenging, obviously, in a lot of different ways, which again, I think that you've done really well this year is having a looser grasp if you need to adjust workouts, right? Is be like, yeah, dude, like I'm just not feeling it today. This is the adjustment that I made, or we'll have a conversation about it, whatever it might be. But just being able to be like, okay, if things are not going well, like how can I adjust this so I'm still able to like get a solid effort, because there's uncontrollables that I was not able to manage, going into this workout or during this workout, but that's not going to prevent you from doing the workout, right? Getting that stimulus that's still required for you to adapt in a certain like period of training. So yeah, I know we've talked about that before. Yeah, just being a little bit more flexible. The consistency being really huge too. Like, holy moly, like just a whole different athlete I feel like you've become this year just because of the
Yeah.
consistency, right? Of your running, of these efforts, of your lifting, of these little things that you're putting together, right? For your recovery. Yeah, and that's all I think to
Yeah.
this fit
Yeah.
you're now
Yeah.
experiencing. So when you're thinking about like this next marathon build, right? What do you feel like actually, let's maybe start about like, do you have a time goal in mind that you're excited about?
I don't, honestly. I think that that's going to end up being really good though. I
I think
do.
so too. Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think so.
yeah, it's funny because when I first messaged you 2 years ago, I was like, let's go break 3. And
Mhm.
that was like the sole focus, almost to a detriment. Like we made the whole docu-series about it, right? And
Mm.
that was, the problem was that I got so attached to that, and then I got hurt, and then it was right. So once I let that go, and also them dropping the Boston time to 2:55, and now likely needing to run sub 2:50 for next year to get to Boston, I was like, okay, now it just goes back to personal growth again, right? As opposed to chasing a number that determines whether I win or not. Now I want a PR, and that's all I really care about. Now, that doesn't mean I want to necessarily just go for like 309.59
Dude, you,
either, right? So
you could run 309.50 this weekend if you wanted to.
I do believe that for sure.
I think so too.
So, I think I was talking to Kaylee about this, and I think that it's okay just wanting to have fun with the sport while also still wanting and remembering that we want to push ourselves and give our best effort, right? And finding the balance between that. So I think at the end of the day, I think about in this next block and this next year, what am I trying to accomplish as an athlete?
Mhm.
And I go back to the process goals. And then at Mesa, I want to run a really good race. And whatever, like, literally the few weeks leading up to it, having you be like, this is what I think you should do. Let's see what happens. And I'm going to be like, okay, essentially. Right. So my mind is like, we just stacked 7 60-mile weeks. And I feel like I was getting really fit off of that. I think it's a safe
Yeah.
assumption. And it's like, can we build back to 60? And then I don't know from there, do we go to 65 or do we just chill at 60? I don't know. But I mean, it's like, I want to become a better athlete first and foremost. Like I would like to PR my half in December, and I would like to PR at Mesa, because after that, I want to kind of dive into like ultras and tries and
Yeah.
stuff.
I'm so
Yeah. I
excited to
mean,
talk.
sure. I'd love to break 3 though. I don't know. But I don't like 301, 302, 303, 305, 255. Cool. I want to go and run a really good, solid marathon effort, and just get to the end and be like, when it got hard, I was ready for it.
Mhm.
That's what I want to do. Right.
Yeah, and I think that'll be some of the changes that I think we'll talk about as I kind of construct that plan, is specifically how you can prep yourself for the strongest part of your race being the last 10K, both from like a fatigue resistance perspective and how you train your physical body, but then also a nutrition perspective, which I think that can always be improved. I think a lot of people are talking about nutrition right now. Like Joe Klecker, I think he was talking about trying to get in 170 grams
It's
of carbs
insane.
an hour
That
at
is
New
insane.
York. Yeah, and he had a pretty solid debut at New York. He ran 210 high, maybe,
Mhm.
which is fairly competitive. But that's absurd. That amount of carbs, I think that maybe is over the top and pretty unrealistic for most people. But I think if you're able to stretch yourself to get in like between 90 and 100 grams of carbs every hour, for 3 hours, like I think you're going to be in a really good position to crush the last K, whether you are running 301 or 253. I think I would love to put you in a position over the last K of that marathon that you were like, oh shit, like I'm going to be able to finish the way that I want to.
Right.
So before we maybe talk about some of that stuff, for your half in December, how are you feeling about that? Like running a half marathon in like what, 4 weeks, 5 weeks now? 5 weeks?
Probably more relaxed than I should, but I feel like this week it'll start to change. That one I'm going into with the mindset of 6:30. That's my game plan for that. It's flat, and I would like some redemption from grandma's half.
Mm-hmm.
That I do have that kind of 6:30 in my mind, somewhere like around there, and coming away with like 126, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
for that half. I think it's going to be I think it ends up falling perfectly in the Mesa build too, to kind of see where I'm at right at kind of the start of the build.
I think that's great. Yes, absolutely. And I think we're going to be able to tell, so half marathon and a marathon are two very different events, but I think they can inform one and the other. So I think we'll be able to glean from that as kind of what do you feel like is missing, both
Mhm.
from like a physical standpoint, but then also psychological standpoint. Like, obviously like unpack that event and kind of to talk about moments that were difficult, how you kind of push through those moments. And again, kind of how your body managed a sustained effort or the slight pace variations, the slight inclines, like all the different factors that exist when you're racing on the road. And each of those opportunities offer us that chance to explore those different pieces. So we'll be able to kind of make some adjustments for the next build. Are you worried about weather at all?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest challenge this build's going to have for sure. I think we're going to, yeah, I think as a coach though, it's going to teach me a lot. I mean, CIM, right?
Yeah.
But I've never had to train in Minnesota through December and January. That
Yeah.
I'm definitely nervous about that, in the sense of how much treadmill running I might end up having to do potentially,
Mm-hmm.
but also curious your opinion on that even too. It's going to be such an interesting dynamic, like deciding every week. I mean, first of all, if we end up with snow, that's what I think about, right? If we get dumped on with snow in January, that's going to make January pretty interesting, right? And then the
Yeah.
second thing is how cold will it get? Because if it's like negative, if it's under zero, that just adds such an element in so many different ways. Like fueling outside when it is under zero is going to be pretty hard to do. Like carrying
Yeah.
a water bottle with winter, like it's like I feel like I have to go shred in that situation. You know what I mean? So I think that's going to be a big thing. Luckily, PRG has a decline tread, so I'm more worried about it for the decline aspect of hills, not as much for the incline. Because I can do incline treads anywhere, but PRG does have a decline tread, and I did think about the potential of doing like even one run a week, even if it's easy, and going on like 2% decline and like a sweatshirt, just to like get like used to running in a hot, you know, area,
Mhm.
and then like with the down, because Mesa's is pretty a lot of downhills. Well, it's like downhill like the whole time, but
That yeah.
Yeah,
It's it's Phoenix though, isn't it?
no, so they're different.
Maybe you're thinking about it.
Mesa Marathon elevation.
Different.
So you start at 2100 and I just above 1100. So I lose about 1,000. But the first 5 miles, are you looking at it?
Yeah. Huh.
So I'm not super worried about incline. I mean, there's one climb at mile 5. That's literally it. And then it's like downhill the whole time.
Interesting. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, and that climb is pretty early, so that's not. And it's only 150-foot climb. Like that's really not that bad.
No. So I'm definitely gonna need my quad. I'll talk with Zach too, my trainer, about that. Because I'm definitely gonna need my quads ready. Because I feel like that, from what I've heard from people too, that's the one that's what gets people on Mesa. Is it's actually so
For sure.
decline heavy that by the end their quads are shot. Kind of like CAM vibes almost.
So what is for your decline treadmill that you have access to? What's the like angle that you can get down to?
Keely, do you have any idea what the angle at PRG is for the decline tread? I think 3, maybe 5. 5 seems like a lot though.
5 would be a lot. I would be so curious. I've never run on like a decline treadmill before.
I think it's 3. I know it's for sure 2. I think it gets to 3.
Okay. Huh. Yeah, I think that'd be an interesting thing to experiment with. Yeah, I'm very curious. Have you tried it before?
I've
Like
never
on
ran
a
on it before, no. Because it's
Okay.
the only one that's not a woodway. But it's a specific for like trail runner. The trail runner that
Yeah.
trains in the winter. It's like specific for that. So you're ready for
Interesting.
the declines.
Yeah. Let's maybe you can experiment with that just for like a half-mile run sometime over the next week or two.
Yeah, I'll try it
And
out.
like you can just kind of describe to me what that feels like on a treadmill. I think I'm more of a traditionalist. I think when presented with the opportunity to not run on a treadmill, if the conditions are safe, I usually encourage that because I think our mechanics are very different when we're running outside. From what little I know, I believe we're utilizing like our posterior chain a lot less, right? Like we're not using our hamstrings or glutes as much because essentially they're like running in place on a treadmill. We're not like propelling ourselves forward with a stagnant surface. So I think it just kind of is different. But again, I think if there are elements of risk, especially with the winter in Minnesota, running on a treadmill is better if it's icy outside or if there's 2 feet of snow or it's 45 below zero with, the wind chill at 60. Those runs aren't always super productive when you have to put on 4 layers of clothes and ski goggles. Otherwise, your eyes will freeze up. Yeah, so that'll be interesting. I'll think a little bit about kind of the running downhill aspect. I know there's a ton of stuff that you can do in the gym, which it sounds like you're going to talk to Zach about. And as you know, yeah, a lot of like eccentric work and like isometric work, I think I've done in the past to really feel confident. Running downhill, but you have to do it, right? And I think that's huge too. And maybe you can keep in mind some places around the Twin Cities that if you are able to identify like a half-mile long hill, a mile long hill, something longer, incorporate in some downhill repeats, which I think can be
Yeah.
helpful as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I got
Especially
one already.
Oh, cool. Okay. Because I think that would be really great for us to do maybe like maybe a long run or a midweek long run, and then to finish that off with some like downhill repeats. Because that checks the box of kind of exercising that like fatigue resistance. So you're still like running at a fairly hard clip after a lot of volume. But then 2, again, like practicing running downhill on tired legs. But before that, we would definitely want to make sure that your body is like physically capable of handling that type of stress. And I think that type of prep work has to happen in the gym, right? For you to be able to just handle that stress. But I imagine you're doing a lot of that already. But that's exciting. That's going to be fun. That's going to be like a fun limit to things for sure. So then so you have your half marathon in December, and I think it would be worth taking a bit of time off before a marathon build, right? Because I think it can be so physiologically demanding. And then that would put us at maybe 10 weeks for a build.
Mhm.
Is that kind of what it looks like to you?
And I'm also, I mean, I feel like when you say a week off, it's probably going to be like
Maybe not even.
30.
No, yeah. Yeah. I
But
mean,
I'm
it's look
also
at,
fine training through it, like training through the half and sending it with
yeah.
the half. But like this past week, I ran 7.
Oh, nice.
I
Yeah.
feel very refreshed
I
at this
bet you
point
do.
and ready
Yeah,
for
that's true. Yeah. Yeah. We
so
kind
I
of had
mean,
to build a block of recovery. Yeah. I've kind of leaned into more of a like 8 to 10 week marathon build over the like traditional 12 to 16 week builds. 'Cause I think those just can feel too long.
Mhm.
And yeah, I'll have to break some things down, but I could see using this half as more of a test, right? And definitely not something to really put your hat on, right? That's like a huge target. So,
Yeah, I'm curious too, like when you say a marathon build versus not, is the like what's
mhm.
the biggest difference in your mind of what I'd be doing, I guess? Or like
Yeah, I think
versus what I like have been doing the past like I guess 8 weeks.
yeah, I think marathons are one of the most specific events that you can prep for. And I think it requires marathon pace work to be done and fueling at marathon pace. And marathon pace, I don't think really fits into nice physiological boxes, right?
Mhm.
It's a lot slower than your threshold, right? It's faster than your zone two, right? So it's in this like strange middle zone that doesn't really make sense for you to train at a lot unless you're running a marathon. So I think that's a big difference is like we'll just be hit like touching marathon pace fairly regularly in a build
Mhm.
and you're running a volume that is probably higher than normal with again the focus on like these long runs being your like key stimulus every single week and that the nutrition during your long runs is an equally as important thing every single week. So I think that that's a big difference. I think what you've been doing over the last 8 weeks has been really just like we've built a really good aerobic engine for you. I think your threshold efforts have been the best, efforts that I've seen you been able to like repeat week in and week out since we've been working together, which has been super exciting. Because then, like with that type of an aerobic engine, you just throw on some marathon specificity, and then I think you're prepped, for like a really great result in ways that I don't think you were in the past to kind of like absorb that marathon training in the same way.
Mhm.
And I think your body's resilience is just a lot stronger now too. Yeah, so I think of those pieces of like, yeah, just more specificity for the marathon, knowing that it's also on a road. Right? Like it's on asphalt. So you have to like run on asphalt, right? And it kind of sucks sometimes, um but I think it's essential. Yeah. Yeah, and I think I don't know what you would think about this, but I would love to. I mean, we'll have to maybe talk more about what Minnesota training in Minnesota might look like in January, but I would love if you were to kind of um encroach on the like 80 mile a week upper limit. So just to kind of like tickle yourself with some legit mileage. Cause again, I think that is one of the best ways to prep your physical body for like a really, really good marathon is just put in the volume, consistency. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always loved the training side of things, arguably more than the race, personally. The why behind that isn't super important right now, but and when I think again of like what makes a successful build, it's like, can I push myself and get the most out of myself and do things I've never done before in these next 12 weeks? That's what I
Yeah.
want to do. And show that I can handle it. I can stay healthy. I can do all the things and just demo that for clients. Honestly,
Mhm.
at myself too, but like, I want to do things that not a lot of people have done before. And
Yeah.
like
Hell yeah.
in the recreational, I guess, zone,
Yeah.
or at least, I don't know, in my world, like 80 miles for me is like, that's so freaking much.
Dude, it's great. Yeah. Yeah. And
I
you're going to
even,
have to,
even 60, I like how I made that feel like normal is
yeah.
fucking beyond me. I like, dude,
Hmm.
3 years ago, like 30
Yeah.
miles a week was so much for me 3 years ago, 30 to 40 miles. And like the fact that I'm doubling that, like it's just, but also it's like, I want to do that and show that like I can still work and I can still be a good partner to Kaylee, And I
Yeah.
feel like I did that for the first like 6 weeks of the 60-mile build. And then the last couple of weeks it got hard to maintain that. And I don't really know. I think it's because I don't know why for sure, but that's part of it too. It's like, I want to, I don't want to just be a zombie. Like,
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And we were kind of calculated, we kind of both agreed to just kind of maintain that volume, right? Because you're just clicking it off. But I think in this type of a build, there would be those built-in reduced volume weeks as hopefully a way for you to reset psychologically, for you to kind of invest in other parts of your life during that week. And then also absorb some of the really peak volume that we're going to reach before kind of increasing again. So something like if we were able to like build up to 80 and we did 80 2 weeks in a row, then we reduce that to like 67 maybe,
mhm,
that next week, 68, right? So that feel like a huge drop, right? And then kind of crawl back up to maybe that 75, 80 range.
mhm,
But hopefully in that week that's reduced, you kind of be able to reset.
yeah.
But it's always amazing because I think when you really think about it, okay, like this is a season, right? I'm not going to be running 80 miles a week for all of 2026, right?
Right.
I could see yourself maybe running 2 or 3 80-mile weeks or high 70-mile weeks in that 12-week period, right? So it's like, oh, okay, it's just like these handful of weeks and that's it, So let's just get through these, and then you're going to adapt, all other parts of your life to kind of make that work. Because it's definitely something that you're clearly motivated to do.
Right.
Yeah. So I think
Is
that'll be,
the progression of that kind of like if I reset this week, did 7 miles, basically took the week off.
Mhm.
So then is the progression like the next 2-3 weeks to get to like 60 by week 3? Like what's like the progression, I guess, over the next, like in your mind, 4 to 8 weeks? Like how long
yeah.
will it take me to get to that? I guess
Yeah.
is what I'm asking.
I think if you're able to reach your like peak volume 6 to 7 weeks before a marathon,
Okay.
right?
It's
And
like
maybe have
January.
1, 2, maybe 3 weeks kind of fiddling around that area between maybe 75 and 80, that would be huge. But I think we would be building up to that from here. I am maybe not as conservative as some other coaches. I think if you, like you've been running 60 miles a week for a while and you just had 1 week that was kind of a little bit lower. Obviously, like most of this week you didn't run, but like it'd be pretty easy for you to run 45, 50 miles next week,
Mhm.
right? You can jump
Mhm.
back into it. I don't think there's any issues with that.
Yeah.
And then just slowly building up
Gotcha.
from there.
From there.
From there. Yep. And then not having too many other physiological stressors, like probably not doing any like super insane workout, obviously right off the rip, but definitely some introductory sessions early. I think that's going to help a lot. And I kind of want to talk more broadly about next year, but I could see, just to kind of go over maybe the next couple of weeks, what I think is so critical, and we're in the position to do this now for a marathon build, is getting biomechanically efficient in the early couple weeks of a build, right? So for you, I could see that, right? Obviously, we're increasing volume again. You're going to be running mostly every day, but doing like maybe like 2 sessions of hill repeats, right? Just working on your mechanics, maybe getting pretty consistent with some drills right before you do those repeats, your A skips, your B skips, your karaoke, all of those types of things that I think really help with your mechanics when you do them consistently. And then I think that's like one of your great limiters in a marathon is your mechanical efficiency, right? So the more efficient you are, the less fuel you're going to burn unnecessarily when you're moving your body throughout the marathon. And I think just obviously the faster you're going to be. So if we're able to just take another step forward in your mechanics for 2 weeks, and then we have maybe 10 weeks to really just prime that marathon body, right? So you're just like ready for that type of abuse at Mesa, descending 1,100 feet on running 26.2 miles. And then we can use, of course, that half marathon as like an indicator of where you're at physically, which would then kind of inform kind of paces, for the next couple of weeks before the marathon. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Cool.
So we're gonna do something nasty at Mesa.
Dude, I'm super stoked.
I was tempted to jump in a November marathon, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, I was. And then I was like, I'm going to be patient. I'm going to play the smart game with this and we're going to do this right. But dude, I feel so fit. So I'm
and that's
ready.
the biggest win too. I mean, I'm sure you talk about this with your athletes, but like finding joy in the process and doing it with people that you care about and then being healthy. Like you're able to like finish a training block with those 3 things, then you are like in a great spot to run the way that you want to at pretty much any race, right? You obviously still need to like work hard and do the right training, but like, it's always made a lot easier when they're able to find joy in the hard moments. So let's maybe think about bird's eye view next year. So we have Mesa, February. What else is on the docket?
All right. So we're going to rip Mesa, come up with a nice big PR. There's a few floating things yet because I'm going to enter some lotteries. So keep that in mind. Not that I don't want to do other things fast. But my big focus after Mesa next year is I want to do a triathlon in July. I need to figure out, I'm probably not going to start swimming much until after Mesa, but I might jump in the pool from time to time, just like for fun more than anything. Just kind of start practicing a little bit because I want to do a 70.3 in July, but I have no goal for it. I just want to finish it. Just do it.
And that's not like your sprint triathlon Olympic distance. Like this is a real deal.
Yeah, people keep saying that to me, which makes me actually kind of nervous, which also excites me.
Have you ever swam a mile?
No. Yeah. So, but this excites me because it reminds me of the first time I did a marathon and everyone was like, you're going to do a marathon? Like, it's like a big deal, right? So, but I have some friends that have done the 70. So and I would like to eventually do an Ironman. So it's like, but I want to see if I actually like want to do an Ironman, I guess. So I'm not going to just go to an Ironman. So I want to like make sure, because if I do this and I'm like, no, F this, then, and then a Superior Fall 50.
Sick.
And then Javelina 1K. That I want to run hard. So I think the A races are Mesa and Javelina 100K. So 62. I would like to rip that and see if I can go do like 10 hours. I don't know.
Wait, so you're doing at Javelina 100K and then the Superior you're doing a 50 mile?
Yeah, so the Superior 50 mile and my mile would be a training race for Javelina with Kaylee. Okay. But she also might cook me on that. I don't know. So when I say I'm entering her realm now, so I don't. That one I want to do more for fun, and that one's also like I might end up. I have a couple friends that are doing the 100-miler, friends / clients. I may end up crewing and pacing, and then just doing like a big time on feet day. But I would like to do the 50 for Superior this year, just to do it and get like that under my belt so I can do the 100 and have that be the A race for 2027.
That'd be sick.
That's kind of the thought process with that. And it's also 8 weeks before Javelina. So it would like timing wise, it should work out.
Well, that is pretty good. Yeah, I was a little worried about. Yeah. I was worried.
It's the weekend after Labor Day. and then Javelina's Halloween weekend. So it's like the first weekend of September and then the last weekend of October.
Okay, cool.
However, I also dropped my name into Chicago,
Wow.
and I was going to drop my name into New York and into Leadville. So I'm going to
Whoa,
wait till I
what?
see what happens with those three first. I've dropped my name in Chicago, New York every year for like 3 years and haven't gotten in once. And Leadville, I dropped it in. Like these are the odds I get into one are so low. So it's very random. I just draw my name in those. We'll see what happens. If I get into one of those, everything I just said might change.
Okay.
And then I'm also
Likely.
signed up for Grandma's Full. I don't plan on racing that though. I'm either going to pace Kaylee, or there's a group of people that do the Grandma's Double every year. And I wouldn't mind doing that at some point. And this year could be a good year to do it. So that's also.
Wait, what's Grandma's Double?
You start at 2 a.m. and you run it backwards, and then you run with the racers back. People keep bringing it up to me that I know in the
What?
run around in Minneapolis. So I'm just trying to like put it in Kaylee's mind a little bit, but she wants to go for a PR, so I might pace her. But so yeah, in my mind, it's like, okay, Mesa, I want to do a try for the first time. I want to do Superior 50, and I want to race Javelina. So race Mesa, race Javelina, and then in the meantime, get as fit as possible.
Yeah, with Chicago, New York, and Leadville all being options as well. And all of those would be in the fall, right?
Right, yeah. So like if I were to get into Leadville, for example, everything else in the fall I would take all that off likely.
Okay,
I would just
yeah.
train for Leadville. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah,
And
well,
I
definitely.
don't, Chicago and New York, I don't need to race those. I just want to do them as well. So like theoretically, if I got into Chicago, in my mind, we could use that as a training run for Javelina. I don't need to. Like Mesa it's not the last, but it's like Mesa is my road focus marathon. And then I want to do some ultra stuff and try stuff, and that could change, I guess. But that's what I'm thinking in my mind. What are your thoughts on that, I guess?
Well, I think that's great. I think that'll be such a fun year to stretch yourself in different ways. I find for myself, like even when things are going really well, when I like throw a curveball and I do a race that kind of scares me, like in a whole different domain, like that, like re-energizes training for me in a different way. Like I did that swim run, right, this last year. Now, I'm not a swimmer myself, right? And then over 3 months, I learned how to become a very average swimmer. And I was able to compete in this 25-mile event with 3.7 miles of swimming and 21 miles of running, right? And 25 transitions between the two. And carrying all of my running gear while I was swimming and swimming gear while I was running. Like it was such a fun event and just pushed me in a whole different way. And I feel like that'll be your experience with the triathlon. But I also think that'll be your experience with some of these ultras. Because again, it's just like a whole different landscape, not only of training, but again, just kind of how you kind of navigate that. And with the athletes that I've coached before who have done ultras, like I just had one of my athletes, Tyler, he was in the Superior 100. He had to drop at mile 76 because he sprained his ankle, which is a huge bummer because he was on pace to break 24 hours.
Sad.
Right? For his first 100. And he was so bummed about that. But then 4 weeks later, he ran 100K and crushed it. He was second overall. It was up in Duluth and was 3 minutes off winning. And he like ripping it, right? But I think we just spent so much time again, like preparing his mind, body, and the like fueling piece to be able to do that. But it's just not like the same like intensity too, right? So I feel like it's just like a whole different realm. But I think if you're able to get in as good shape that you can for Mesa, like that's only going to set you up well for everything else that you're going to do that fall.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be really fun to see because I think you're going to be in nasty shape in February.
Yeah, I think we're in nasty shape right now, honestly.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be pretty nuts come February. But yeah, I just think that the period of life I'm in right now, as I'm getting older and like going to get married, I have kids in the somewhat near future, 4 or
Mhm.
5, whatever it is. But like, I really want to take this time and just capitalize on
Sure.
putting in. And that's not to say I won't do that later, right? It's just like,
This is going to be
I'm
the
sure running
easiest.
80-mile weeks right now is going to be easier when all I have to focus on is myself and Kaylee, right?
Yeah.
And just like not even owning a house, right? Not even to mow the lawn, right? Things like that. Like I want to do that now. I'm cheating the system a little bit, and then I'll worry about the others. Yeah.
And I think that's so wise of you to recognize, because I think a lot of us feel like we have more time than we do,
Mhm.
right? In whatever season of life that we're in. But it is true, like when it is just you and Kaylee, dude, this is like you have more freedom now than you probably will have at any other point in your life moving forward,
Right.
right? Like I feel like our lives just get more and more complicated as we get older. So we have to, again, take advantage of those moments when we're have the capacity to push for something exciting to us, but then still find ways to make it sustainable, right? Because you, I imagine, want to be doing this for many years, no matter how many twists and turns your life goes, that you still want to be able to train to some degree and compete to some degree. But I think it's, yeah, awesome that you're kind of doing some big scary races coming up.
Yeah, and they do scare me,
Yeah, dude, it's terrifying. Have you, so how much swimming have you done throughout
dude.
your life?
Next to none, honestly.
I
I've
think
been
it's
in the
wild.
pool probably 10 times,
Okay.
besides like third grade swimming lessons, I guess.
Okay. So you might actually have some background.
Yeah, I took a swim lesson with like a coach like a month ago now, and she was like, "Honestly, you're better than what you described." And she was very
Nice.
optimistic about where I was at already. She was like, "I think you're gonna be fine." Her biggest thing was like, "You just need to get in the pool and swim," basically.
Great. Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I think it's A-okay if you want to do that maybe once a week during the
mhm.
marathon build, but I would maybe not do too much more than
Okay.
just because it's a nearly 100% upper body
Mhm.
movement, which is just not really helpful, I think, in a marathon prep. And I think it's going to be your running is going to be so demanding that I think adding anything else will just take away from the running.
Mhm.
But if it's like a light swim, some drills, just to kind of like continue to like get your like muscular stuff kind of like moving in the right direction for after Mesa, when you kind of can maybe have a larger build for swimming, then that's good. And
Yeah.
I think it can be really helpful for recovery, like the water pressure. Uh, I don't know how much you know about that, but it's like aware of like putting on the space boots,
Huh.
right? The normal tech. Yeah, it's
Good
like
to
the
know.
same pressure.
I did not know. Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's the value of like if you do have opportunities to like post run, you hop in a pool and you walk around a little while, or you aqua jog. Like the water pressure can really help circulate some blood in your lower body and kind of move things along in the healing process. So that's a little tip. I think it would also be great because you have access to a sauna, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Is to like get on a protocol for this next
How
block
much do you
as
think I
well.
should be sauning
I think if you could do 2 to 3 times a week,
for like 20 minutes, 15, 30? Should look at Strava. I mean, average for the last 8 weeks, 2 to 3 times a week, maybe for like 15 minutes. I would say I've been averaging like 40 to 60 minutes a week.
40 to 60 minutes. Okay. Yeah, I think there's a couple of, I mean, yeah, there's kind of a couple of different protocol. I mean, I think it would be awesome if you could build up to like your peak being like 2 by 20 minutes right in the sauna with like 5 minutes recovery, just outside of the sauna. If you have a cold shower, something like that. I
Winter
think
time.
that should be, what's that?
I can do it during the winter time. I'll go 20 minutes in the
Oh, yeah.
sauna, go jump in the
Yeah.
snow, and then go 20 minutes in the sauna.
Ideal. It really is. Oh gosh, I miss that so much.
So
And I
build
think
up
we
to
should,
that like 3 times a week. It's like during
yeah,
the peak week, do that. Like ideally, that's the peak week.
I think that could be maybe closer to like as we taper you're into that that peak sauna time. I think it's kind of hard to do the peak sauna, peak volume, peak intensity all at the same time. I think that's just a lot of stress. But I think if you're able to be consistent with maybe it's 2 sessions in the sauna, 20 minutes each, right? Kind of for the majority of this block. And if you can do that after your runs, and we'll program this in, like I think it would be worth programming in specifically with the sauna stuff. So you have like your running volume, you'll have your lifting, and then you'll have the sauna protocol as well. And I think what the science says is, yeah, if you're able to go for your run and then hop in the sauna right
Like
afterwards.
right afterwards.
Right afterwards. Yep.
We'll
That's
probably
like
want to.
that's like
We'll probably want to do one of them for sure. Then on the long run day, and then actually, it's probably gonna need to be the long run and then the workout day, Wednesday, if that works.
yeah, let's do that. I think what I'm gonna propose we adjust for this block is we just have a long run day and we just have like a midweek workout. So it's just 2 very big training stimuluses. And then we add a medium long run in that week. So that'd be like the day after your midweek session. You're doing like a midweek long run. Cool. Yeah. So that's like 70% of what your long run would look like. So if you're running a 2-mile long run, you're running 14 miles, right? So it's going to be, those are hard, right? Right
So
after
like Wednesday will be like a 10 to 12 mile speed workout. Thursday would be like a midweek long run up to like 14 long run then on Saturday or Sunday.
So are you still thinking about, or do you still want to take Tuesdays off then?
That was another question I was going to ask you about, like how realistic it's going to be for me to have an off day with that kind of mileage.
I mean, I think it's totally possible. We're just going to have to double a lot more. And I think that's going to be good. I mean, Connor Mance and a lot of the best Kenyans in the world do it off 6 days, right? Connor Mance is running 125 miles a week off 6 days. So, if he could do that, I think you could do 80 miles. I think if done intelligently, right? But I think we'll be then doubling more like 3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah.
Right. I think that would be required if we're going to do it in 6.
Yeah. I think we try it. And then if after, if I get to a point where I can't.
And we can still have it as like it could be like a 3 to 4 mile day, right? So it could feel like a super light day.
On Tuesday.
Still. Yeah.
Right. That's the thing. It's like if I could even fit in just like a small amount.
Just a ton.
The thing with Tuesday that gets tough is that like usually I'm at the gym from like 6 to 7.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually have an hour in the morning, an hour at like lunch, and then an hour in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm eating food, that specifically is what's hard about it, is that like those are my 3 meals. So then if I have to do a run during one of them, it's the fueling part more than anything else that gets hard. Kind of, it's a weird thing that's what's hard, but it is. That's the hardest part. Whereas if I do that, I can sit during each one of those hours and eat. And then Wednesday is way better. It's more of like Wednesdays that gets effed up specifically. But then like Wednesday, I don't work with clients. Yeah. So I sleep in. It's a really nice reset. So I don't know. I guess we can kind of.
Yeah, let's plan for the time being still taking Tuesdays off. Right, we're still going to structure that in at least, I think, for the next 5 weeks, and then we'll kind of see how things are feeling. Then, plan to have hard workout Wednesday, and your lifting days are Monday, Thursday.
Monday, Thursday, yeah.
That's actually going to be perfect.
Yeah, and I lift Thursday morning, which seems to be freaking perfect too, because I actually have been like feeling so fueled by that, and then I can do the easy long in the afternoon. It's like ideal.
Great. Okay. Yeah. I think that's excellent. So this is going to work out super well. Because as we've kind of talked about, like if you're just able to get that lift in within 24 hours of your hard sessions, like I think that's ideal. Because then the DOMs aren't eating you alive, like And then there's not too many hard stimuluses throughout the week without those blocks of recovery built in. And then, so your lifting sessions, so like Monday's still kind of like a strength focus, and Thursday continues to be more like plyometric, explosive focused.
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't really talk about that a whole lot, I guess, but that's also been a huge game changer. Just doing that.
Excellent.
Do you think
Yeah.
two's enough, right? And for at least for the build.
I would not do more than 2 in the midst of a marathon build. I think that's plenty good. I think that should change after the marathon. As you're prepping for a whole different type of training, I think maybe adding a third day will be helpful, especially like with your upper body, like getting your upper body strong enough to handle the swim.
Yeah.
And to not be too fatiguing to take away from your bike.
Yeah. And then I was adding in like bands and like stuff randomly during warm-ups.
Great.
I like what you like 5 to 10 minute warm-ups max for most. And then like, but like if I was doubling, like the morning run, I would foam roll. The afternoon run, I'd do like band work and like
Excellent.
things like that, just shaking it up. So that seemed to work.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's great. So then if we could do, so yeah, like I'm just kind of like thinking about a schedule. If we're able to do like a light double Monday, Wednesday, do your hard workout, sauna immediately after the hard workout. That's going to be really challenging, I think. So you're going to have to check in with yourself to see if that's sustainable.
Okay. Challenging, like just it's going to feel hard. The sauna.
It's just going to suck, dude. It's going to suck. And it's like after a hard workout, like,
do you eat before or do you go right to the sauna? Because that's the part of the workout. Like when I fuel into the sauna.
what are you able to fuel in the sauna?
Yeah.
Like, is this type of sauna
Like
that
bring
you
a
could?
protein shake in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I would do that, or grab a bar, anything quick that you can, like the ideal that I have always learned is that why you want to hop in the sauna after you run is your core temperature is already high, right?
Mhm.
So then you're able to like essentially just, rather than being in the sauna for 30 minutes and you're down here and it goes up here, like you're already at this point. So then you can like get to that degree
Right.
of like acclimation, I think, that
makes
you'd
so
have
much sense.
developed just a lot quicker. And that's what the BYU guys do a lot. Like they have been really, really into this sauna protocol. So yeah, I think, and if we can maybe just start with 10 minutes of just like you do your hard session, grab a bar, grab your protein shake, 10-minute sauna, cool. Get like a full meal in after that and like recover for that day. And hopefully, Wednesday with your day off, maybe you can take a light nap, like just a 20, 30-minute power nap, or close your eyes just for 15 minutes if you're not going to nap. Like I think just reducing that stimulus, like visually, I think is really good for recovery. And then doing a very light double, I think also on Wednesdays to kind of flush everything out. So like always planning on like a 1 to 3 mile double on Wednesdays evenings. I think that'd be great. And that would be a great day if you wanted to do swimming. I think a Wednesday swim would be great, like Wednesday
Sweet.
evening swim.
Okay.
Right. That would be a lot on a Wednesday to do all those things.
Yeah, but running a 3-hour marathon is going to be a lot. So
It's it's going to be a lot. And again, it's like,
have to.
yeah. And if you think about,
that,
if you really do think about like your Wednesdays and Sundays are your 2 big commitment days to your training, right? So carve out, 3 hours, something like that to like commit to running on those 2 days. And then I think everything else is kind of fill in and just kind of more maintenance, recovery, volume, and then you're lifting and such. And then, yeah, Thursday, midweek long run, Friday, easy double, Saturday, maybe single or easy double, and then Sunday, long run with ideally like a 1 mile in the evening. That's like one of the best like tips I ever received when I first got into marathon training was doing a double on long run days.
Really?
Yeah, it's so hard to do at times, right? Because you like just crushed 22 miles, but it makes you feel so much better on Mondays, right? It just like circulates blood. You're doing the same movement Right? So for whatever reason, there's just something, like when you're sore, right? It's like when you do like bicep curls, right? You're like super sore doing bicep curls. And the next day, if you do super light bicep curls, you feel so much less sore the next day after that than if you didn't do like the
Right.
same movement again. And it's really interesting, but I think just doing the same exact movement, super light, just will really help with recovery. But it sucks most of the time. So keep that in mind. But that could be like a 10-minute mile, 11-minute mile, just really just getting out there, going super slow, circulating that blood, and just think of that as like a recovery tool. Right? I think that's more effective than foam roll, right? Doing that 1 mile easy jog. So that's kind of my thoughts. What do you think?
I love it.
Cool.
I'm just gonna ask this, even though I'm a coach. Is it possible to go too easy ever?
That's a good question.
Is there a number that I should not run?
I think it is possible to go too easy. Right. But I don't think it's really possible to start out a run too easy, if that makes sense. I think with the majority of your recovery runs, especially after these hard workouts, it's going to feel really hard. And I highly recommend starting them between 9 and 10-minute pace. Sometimes that could even be slower, right? Just to kind of get your body moving and then work into a more appropriate recovery pace for you, which could be kind of more in that like 8:30 to 8-minute range, but to probably not regularly be in the like, oh, I'm going to go out for 6 miles and run 10:30 pace. I do not think it's disastrous at all. And I think there's going to be days where that is critical for you to get in that volume. And that is what it is. But I don't think that should be regular because the issue with that is your mechanics are just so
Right.
wonky. Right.
Yeah.
The slower you go, lower your cadence, the more wonky your mechanics are, which I think is actually can cause injury more so than you kind of pressing a little bit harder on your easy run if your mechanics are a little bit better. But again, I think just give yourself the time to ease into easy runs as we've kind of done. Like when you came out and visited, like you saw kind of, like we jogged pretty chill, right? And that felt pretty good. But I think in a lot of those runs, you kind of like ease into it or run a little bit faster towards the end of the run.
I think I was doing that. I think I got that down. I was just kind of checking too.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. But I think again, like there's the art of marathoning is like listening to your body and giving your body what it needs. And I think that will require, you maybe adjusting some of your pacing for your easy runs. But another thing that we'll talk about eventually is the nutrition piece that I think is super critical. Is just making sure that you're fueling enough, regularly in your life, and then fueling intentionally prior to these hard workouts and then during these hard workouts, and kind of committing to a nutritional plan with like the same product that you plan on using for the marathon, and then just getting really good at stretching your gut, right? And training your gut to handle, 80 to 100 grams of carb an hour. So yeah,
Let's do it.
dude,
Right.
let's freaking do it.
I
Yeah,
love it.
it's gonna be sick. Yeah,
I love
I'm
it.
super sick. It's gonna be a
Same.
blast.
I'm very excited. I'm excited to, I've been having fun with running, so I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are
I think
you
it'd be good.
Well, I'm curious if you're going to participate in any of the like Mill City workouts or any of those group runs, like for this block.
Honestly, it's funny because that's been a big part of everything that I've wanted more of lately. Probably won't be able to a whole lot because they don't do the Wednesday group run. The Wednesday Mill City workouts don't start up until I want to say January, maybe a few, but like until then, no. They take a break. They take the next 2 months off, and so there's no speed workouts that I'll do those for the most part solo.
Okay.
I'm kind of have to. That's going to be another change for me too, which I think I'm kind of looking forward to right now. Actually, though, is that most people in Minnesota are not training. But from a coaching perspective, it's going to be kind of fun because I can focus very much on myself in this while and then afterwards people start ramping up when I'm going to have like a whole month off
Yep.
or
Cool.
down, I should say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I think there is something to a lot of solo prep for a marathon that I think hardens your mind in a way that equips you well to compete in a marathon. I don't know what it is, like this like solitary nature of a distance runner. Like you're able to like lock in and not need that external accountability.
Mm-hmm.
Again, in those really hard moments, I think you're able to kind of draw on those internal reserves of resilience that you kind of forge over time running alone, especially in the heart of a Minnesota winter. It's about as cruel as it gets. But I think, again, like you're going to be able to draw on those moments. Waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, hitting the road with 30 below zero.
Well, and this is the first marathon too in a while where it's just Kaylee and I going out. It's Valentine's Day weekend, so we're like afterwards we'll go
Yeah.
out for Valentine's Day, and like so that's going to be different too because it's just me and me, right? It's me versus me, which I think is going to be a fun challenge too of like really developing going into this next year and next phase of life, even of like what's your next why? Why are you still doing this? So I think that's going to be fun to. I'm excited about it. I'm really excited to focus on me for this,
Yeah.
for that, and like just racing me and trying to
Yeah.
be me,
Because I feel like most marathons that you've done as of late is you've been like an ambassador for grandmas or CM, right? So you've had some additional responsibilities.
Right. Yeah. And I'm going there it's just me. Like, yeah, it's going to be really nice.
Well, I'm very curious how this is going to then be for you when you're just like so focused on you. And then again, a great opportunity for you to check in with yourself of why you're doing this,
Right.
right? I think when you've had others that are relying on you, I think you're able to kind of be like, oh, well, I'm motivating somebody else, right? Somebody else is looking at me and I need to like push through these hard moments so that I can be inspirational to others because so many people look up to you.
Mhm.
But like when it's just you, it's like, dude, when moments get hard, like, why are you pushing? Right? It's not for anybody else.
Right.
So I think that'll be that. That'll be
I'm
your
ready.
homework.
I'm ready to do that. I'm ready to do it for me.
Yeah.
And Kaylee
Oh yeah, maybe.
and everyone. I mean, watching, I guess, but like this is about. I'm ready to go push myself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
Dude, I'm
think
stoked.
I think it'll be good too if we do like a check in like I don't know January or something too, and just kind of like in the heat of the build. That'd be fun, and then maybe race week or something. I don't know, and record it like this. I think it'll be. I think people will enjoy watching it. So and
Cool.
listening to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, we can definitely, let's plan on doing that. I think it'd also be worth, I mean, we could do this. I mean, I'm sure we're going to talk before your half
Yeah.
and after half. So, if you would like, I mean, we could always just hop on here and plan to record
It's
it.
easy to just record them too and put them out.
Yeah, because I
I
mean,
agree.
this is a type of conversation that we'd have over the phone, but we're just
Right.
able to share right in this space. So I think it's worthwhile for people to hear things out. And like, especially in our relationship, that I feel like things are so flexible. Like
Right.
I'm going to create an outline for the plan, but I know that I'm going to adjust at least 10 to 15% of it based on how things go, that it's just like a living organism
Mhm.
that, we just have to keep revisiting together. You letting me know how things are going, me kind of posing my observations from the outside, and then kind of making those adjustments as things continue. Because again, the always number one goal is your health, right? Being able to be healthy, and then you being able to retain your joy of the daily process. So we'll definitely keep that in mind, I think, for this whole build is those two things. Health and joy, baby.
I love it. Health and joy. We get to do this.
Healthy joy. We get to do this, baby. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'll get working on this, but just plan for just an easy mileage tomorrow.
All right.
Just
I love it.
Just a
I'm going to
reintroduction.
stop the pod now. Stay on for a few seconds so I can upload. But pod listeners, thanks for hopping on and peace out.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Wow, Kaylee, we made it through another episode. What do you think?
We would love if you would go give us a follow, a 5-star review, and comment on the episode and what you liked and what you'd like to see more of.
See you next time.
We get to do this.